This is why we can't have nice things. Last week, I posted my review of Astropad Studio, which is like the professional version of Astropad, and with that professional version of Astropad comes a professional price tag. It's $60 a year. It's like a subscription model. Now, $60 is a lot of money for a mobile app. It's probably more in line with a desktop app. And of course, because it is a higher price, a lot of people were kind of upset about it, which I do understand, but at the same time, what kind of took me aback were how many negative reviews there were on the iTunes page, on the App Store page for Astropad Studio, based solely on the price. So I'm assuming most of the people who watch this are probably people like me, designers, illustrators, people who are used to having our work chronically undervalued. Like 90% of the project inquiries I get are people who are saying, hey, can you do a logo for like 20 bucks for me? Or can you draw a comic book for $120 for me? And of course the answer to that is no, because it takes time to make something nice. To draw a comic book is going to take me like 3 or 4 weeks. $100 is not going to even feed me for 3 or 4 weeks. And I know a lot of you know exactly what I'm talking about. It takes a lot of time to make something nice, to make something of value, to make something good. So apps and software are no different. I work as a UX, UI designer. That's a lot of the client work I do. And the main reason that most of my client work is actually more like web design than illustration is because most of the illustration jobs that come my way are really undervalued, whereas a lot of the web design jobs that come my way, people see it, I don't know, as more technical, so they're willing to accept like a higher livable average wage to pay me to do that. And so as part of this job, I have worked with a lot of app developers. A lot of my friends have started companies where they create an app and think, I'm going to make a living making apps, you know? And it usually does not end well. It is extremely hard to make an app and sell it for $1 or $2 or jam it full of ads, or the business model is wonky. It just doesn't work. But like illustration, making a good app, and Astropad Studio is a very, very good app. Takes talented people, it takes dedication, it takes time, it takes energy. So let's be honest, most of the iPad apps I've used have a lot of compromises to them. There are exceptions. I would say the 2 exceptions would be Astropad and PROCREATE are really the 2 apps that I would consider pro caliber apps that you can get for the iPad. This isn't to take anything away from all the other drawing apps out there, but usually if you're going to use them, you have to make huge trade-offs in terms of like what features you're willing to give up and functionality and things like that. I think what really blew me away about Astropad Studio is how few compromises I actually had to make like over a Cintiq tablet. And with a lot of the features that they've added in, some of the shortcuts and customizability between apps, I really felt like, wow, they are improving upon a standard drawing tablet. So I could see down the road where this could be something that might actually be better using an iPad to draw this way than using something like a Cintiq. And at the end of the day, you still have an iPad that you could take with you and you could use other apps to draw on. And so $60 a year for something like that, if you're using it every single day and if it is your life to draw on all the time, $60 a year, you know, it pays for itself. I mean, that's what it means to be a pro app. And one of the things that I dinged the iPad on in my review last year is that there are a lack of pro apps. A lot of people will disagree with me on that, but I think it's true. There's not a lot that can stand up to Photoshop, Manga Studio / Clip Studio. Doesn't mean there isn't good stuff out there. It's just, you know, they're on different planes. And the thing with pro apps is they're not for everybody. For example, you know, Adobe's apps cost what, $50 a month now? You know, not everybody can afford that. There are a lot of other things out there, and I would love to see the iPad ecosystem be similar, where yeah, you've got cheaper things if you need it. You have more expensive things with more features if you need them. So what bothers me, like what really bothers me, is the fact that someone takes the time and energy to go to the App Store and rate this thing 1 star. And this isn't just limited to Astropad Studio. I'm checking out an app right now called Comic Draw. And sure enough, looking at the reviews, there's a bunch of 1-star reviews. You have to pay to draw comics. You have to pay $1,000 just to make a comic. And for the record, there's a 2-week free trial with this, and when that's over, it costs $10. And I've only used the app for about 20 minutes so far, but from what I can tell, it's really good and totally worth $10. It seems like any app in the App Store that actually charges money for what they're doing is going to get slammed. end. And I don't understand how we can ever have nice apps if we can't actually have developers get paid for the time and the energy that they put into creating these things. Just like we designers and illustrators want to get paid for the time that we put into our work. And it's a great deal for us consumers that we can pay $6 from PROCREATE and just keep getting fed a better and better app every year and never pay for it again. But I really wonder, how sustainable is that? I don't know what the solution is here. And I know there are a lot of people out there who just don't care. That's the developer's problem, not my problem. I got it cheap, yay. But it is your problem, and here is why it is your problem. If that developer can't make money, they're not going to update their product. If they can't update their product, it's going to stop working someday when there's an iOS update. And I would hate to live in a world where we no longer have some of these great drawing and painting apps because we never figured out a business model that we were willing to pay for. I think there is room for pro-level apps. There really is. Just don't knock a company for changing their price model. You still have Astropad Standard. Let other people who need it have Astropad Pro. So yeah, that is literally why we cannot have nice things. You feel better now? No, not really.